Hey warriors, something changes inside you when you realize you're living below your potential. It's not loud, it's quiet, like a door slowly closing in another room. You feel it at night when everything is silent and one question whispers in your mind: am I building something that will outlast me? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, remember what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." But he also knew something deeper, that privilege without purpose becomes a prison. You weren't born just to exist. You were born to leave a mark, something that lasts beyond your years. Think about the bristlecone pine, a tree that grows in the harshest places, high mountains, cold winds, rocky soil. Other trees grow fast in comfort, but the bristlecone endures for over 5,000 years. Why? Because the struggle makes it stronger. Its wood becomes dense, unbreakable. Even after it dies, it still stands tall for thousands of years, a symbol of endurance. That's what your life feels like right now. You're being shaped by pressure that feels unbearable. You're unseen, unheard, unrecognized. You're building something in silence, and the silence keeps asking, does this even matter? But maybe this season, this quiet, heavy moment, is exactly where your legacy is being built. Maybe invisibility isn't a punishment, it's preparation. Maybe you're not falling behind, you're being refined into something unbreakable. Living a life that matters has nothing to do with attention. It's about integrity. It's not about who sees you. It's about what remains when you're gone. Not the noise you make, but the truth you live. And truth doesn't need an audience. It just needs your courage. These next 7 truths won't give you comfort. They'll give you clarity. They'll strip away the lies you've believed about what makes life meaningful. They'll challenge you to stop measuring yourself by the wrong standards. Each truth connects to the next. Miss one, and you'll miss the full picture. Rush through them, and you'll miss the transformation they bring. This isn't just motivation that fades tomorrow. These are truths that will reshape how you see your pain, your growth, and your purpose. They've carried people from obscurity to greatness, not because life got easier, but because they became unbreakable. Drop this powerful affirmation in the comments section below and let the world know you're done playing small. I matter now. Truth 1. Your worth is not determined by who shows up. Your value isn't up for debate. It's not decided by who stays or who leaves. It's not a vote. It's not a number. And it's definitely not measured by how many people see your worth. This truth hurts because we're wired for connection. And when people disappear, it feels like proof that we don't matter. But Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. He knew something simple. The crowd's opinion is the most unreliable compass for a meaningful life. People usually celebrate what's familiar, not what challenges them to grow. Right now, maybe you're keeping score, counting unanswered messages, empty chairs, silent rooms. You feel like you're giving everything and getting nothing back. But you're using the wrong math. Think about Emily Dickinson. She wrote nearly 1,800 poems, mostly alone, in her room. During her life, she published fewer than 12. The world ignored her. She died unknown. Yet today, her words move millions. Her silence didn't mean her work lacked value. It meant her time hadn't come yet. The same with Vincent van Gogh. He sold only 1 painting while he was alive. He died believing he was a failure. But today, his art hangs in museums around the world, worth hundreds of millions. Time didn't make his work valuable. It simply revealed the truth that was already there. History repeats this pattern. Gregor Mendel discovered genetics, ignored for 35 years, Alfred Wegener proposed continental drift, mocked until after his death. Their ideas weren't wrong. The audience was just late. Even the moon rises every night, perfectly on time. It lights the sky, moves the tides, keeps balance on Earth. It does all this whether anyone notices or not. Its value doesn't depend on attention. It depends on purpose. That's your mission too. Not to perform for approval, but to honor the work you were born to do. The effort matters because you showed up, not because someone clapped. Real growth often happens in solitude. Innovation needs focus. Healing needs quiet. Transformation needs privacy. You can't evolve while performing for an audience. People get uncomfortable when you outgrow the version of yourself they're used to. Your growth reminds them of their stagnation. Your courage reflects their fear. They're not rejecting you. They're protecting themselves from what your change reveals. Your worth was set long before anyone showed up to notice. It's not earned through applause. It's not proven through validation. It simply is. So, remember this. The empty room isn't rejection. It's clarity. It's space for you to focus, build, and prepare. It's protection from noise that would water down your vision. You're not behind. You're just early to your calling. Early to the life others will one day pretend they always believed you could live. But they didn't need to believe. Because this was never about their belief. It was always about yours. Take a moment right now and write this declaration in the comments. I validate myself. Truth 2. The struggle you're hiding is the strength you're building. There's a weight you carry that doesn't have a name. A silent battle no one sees. You fight it every day, and sometimes pretending you're okay is harder than the fight itself. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." He understood something most forget. Your struggle isn't stopping your story, it's writing it. The pressure that's crushing you isn't destroying you, it's shaping you. You're tired, not just physically, tired in your soul, tired of being strong, tired of pretending you're fine when you're breaking inside. You're fighting battles no one knows about: money, health, fear, doubt. And yet, every morning, you still get up. That's strength. No one sees your 3 a.m. breakdowns. No one gives awards for surviving another day. But survival is a skill, and you're mastering it. In metallurgy, there's something called work hardening. When metal is bent, hammered, and stretched, it doesn't become weaker, it becomes stronger. The stress rearranges its structure until it can't break easily anymore. That's what's happening to you. Every hit, every setback, every disappointment, it's making you unbreakable. Look at Admiral James Stockdale. He spent 7 years as a prisoner of war in Vietnam, tortured, isolated, humiliated. When asked who didn't survive, he said, "The optimists, the ones who kept saying, 'We'll be out by Christmas.' When Christmas came and went, their hope collapsed. But Stockdale survived because he accepted the brutal truth of his situation and still believed he'd make it in the end. That balance between reality and faith became known as the Stockdale paradox, facing pain without losing belief. That's how diamonds are made, pressure without breaking. You might think others have it easier. You're wrong. Everyone's fighting something you can't see. The difference is you're still moving forward. You're still showing up, and that's what separates strength from collapse. Think about creatures in the Mariana Trench, living under pressure that would crush almost anything. Yet they don't just survive, they thrive. They've adapted to pressure so extreme, they can't live in shallow water anymore. That's you. You're adapting, evolving, becoming someone who can handle what would destroy others. Stop apologizing for your struggle. It's not weakness, it's proof you're still in the fight. Easy lives make fragile people. but you're being built for purpose, a purpose that requires this level of strength. When struggle whispers, "You're not strong enough," remember, strength isn't the absence of pain. It's what remains after pain has taken everything, and you're still standing, still breathing, still trying. Write these words in the comments and own your warrior spirit. I am unbreakable. Truth 3. Purpose doesn't wait for perfect. It starts with present. You've been waiting for the right moment, the day when everything feels aligned, when you're ready, confident, qualified. But that day never comes. It's a mirage that keeps moving the closer you get. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." He knew purpose doesn't start when life's perfect. It starts when you stop waiting. You're trapped in the gap between who you are and who you think you need to be, and that gap is stealing your life. You keep saying, "I'll start when I'm ready." But readiness never comes. Fear doesn't disappear. It just learns to walk beside you. You're waiting for the right credentials, for confidence, for time, for someone to tell you it's okay to begin. But perfection is just fear, pretending to be preparation. Think about a river. It doesn't wait until it's powerful to reach the ocean. It starts small, a trickle, almost invisible. But by moving, by flowing, it shapes canyons, valleys, entire landscapes. It changes the world not by waiting, but by starting. Your purpose works the same way. It begins with showing up, even when you feel unsure, even when it's messy, even when it's scary. Someone out there needs what you have right now, your story, your voice, your kindness, your experience, not later, now. But you're holding back, thinking it's not good enough. Enough compared to what? To who? Perfection doesn't change lives, presence does. Look at Johann Sebastian Bach. He wrote a new cantata every single week for church. No waiting for inspiration, no chasing perfection, just showing up, and those pieces became masterpieces. Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's, was a high school dropout. He didn't wait to feel qualified. He started where he was, learned by doing, and built something lasting. He got his diploma at 61, not for success, but to inspire others. Every person who's ever made a difference started scared and imperfect. Like a seed breaking open underground, it doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It just grows, through darkness, through cold, through uncertainty. It breaks apart before it rises. That's what starting looks like. Breaking open before you see the light, choosing to move even when you can't see the outcome. Stop waiting for the perfect version of yourself. That version can't act yet. Only this one can. The imperfect one reading these words right now. Purpose isn't a reward for being flawless. It's the decision to show up again and again with what you have, where you are, as you are. The world doesn't need your perfection. It needs your presence. If you're ready to step into your purpose right now, imperfect and uncertain but willing, then declare it to the world. I start today. Truth 4. The people who don't understand your journey aren't meant to walk it with you. Here's a truth that quietly breaks your heart. You're outgrowing people you once thought were permanent, and it feels like betrayal. But it's not. You're just changing. You're moving. You're no longer willing to stay in spaces that feel too small. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." He understood that the people who need you to explain your growth are the same ones who benefit from you staying small. They don't need clarity. They need you to stay familiar, comfortable, and predictable. You've been trying to bring everyone along, explaining your vision to people who aren't even looking in your direction, defending your dreams to people who've settled, seeking support from people who feel threatened by your growth. And every time you explain, you feel more drained, because they're not asking for understanding, they're asking you not to change. It's not weakness, it's exhaustion from trying to do the impossible. You're speaking a language they've never learned, describing colors to people who've only ever seen black and white. In nature, snakes and insects shed their old skin to grow. It's called molting. It's painful. They rub against rocks and branches, blind and vulnerable, just to break free. Not because they want to, but because if they don't, they'll die in that old skin. That's where you are now, shedding the version of you that can't grow any further. Some people you love are part of that old skin. They're not bad. They're just not built for where you're going. They can't follow because they refuse to shed their own comfort, and you can't stay because staying means dying to your potential. The hardest part isn't losing them. It's the guilt, the fear that choosing yourself means betraying them. But growth isn't betrayal, it's truth. Some people were meant to teach you, not travel with you. Think about salmon. They swim upstream alone. The companions from the ocean can't follow. They weren't built for that current. The salmon doesn't stop to explain or apologize. It just follows the call within. It's the same for astronauts. Not everyone can join their mission. The training is too hard, the environment too demanding. Their families watch from the ground and cheer. They don't ask them to stay, because love understands distance when purpose calls. You'll sit in rooms you once belonged to and feel like a stranger. You'll speak truths others can't hear, and it will hurt. But that pain is proof of transformation. Above a certain height, climbers enter what's called the death zone. The air is too thin. Even the strongest must climb alone. Helping someone else could kill both. That's how it feels when you're growing. You're reaching altitudes where some people can't breathe. It's not about their worth. It's about their capacity. So, stop shrinking yourself to stay small. Stop explaining to those who've chosen not to understand. Stop feeling guilty for becoming who you were always meant to be. The right people will find you, not because you convinced them, but because your truth will match their frequency. They'll just fit, effortlessly. You don't owe anyone access to a version of you that no longer exists. You don't owe anyone your smallness just to make them comfortable. Release them with peace. Thank them for their part in your story. They were meant for a chapter, not the whole book. And that's okay. Walk forward knowing everyone meant for your next chapter will appear, and you won't have to beg them to turn the page. Show yourself that commitment by typing these liberating words in the comments. I choose growth. Truth 5. Your scars are your credentials. You've been hiding what gives you real power, your scars. You've been covering your wounds, apologizing for your pain, pretending it didn't happen. But those scars don't disqualify you, they qualify you. Marcus Aurelius said, "The obstacle is the way." Your pain isn't blocking your path, it's shaping it. Your scars are the proof that you've survived what others are still fighting. You think you need to be fully healed before you can help anyone. You think you must be perfect before you can teach. That's a lie. The world doesn't need polished perfection. It needs real proof. The world needs someone who says, I bled here, I broke here, but I survived. And so can you. A lighthouse isn't built in calm seas. It's built on rocks, in dangerous places. It stands through storms because it knows how to endure them. That's you. You're not speaking from safety. You're speaking from survival. That's what makes your voice powerful. In Japan, there's an art called kintsugi, broken pottery repaired with gold. The cracks aren't hidden, they're highlighted, because what was once broken becomes the most beautiful part. Your scars are your gold lines, proof of your transformation. Even your body works this way. When it survives a disease, it becomes stronger, immune. Your mind works the same. Every heartbreak, betrayal, or loss gave you wisdom others can't fake. The deepest healers are those who've been hurt the most. Recovering addicts help best because they know the pain, they've lived it. That's credibility you can't buy. Someone right now needs to see your scars. They're standing in the same darkness, wondering if they can make it. When they see you, still standing, still breathing, they'll believe they can too. Your scars make you powerful. They make you dangerous to shame, to fear, to doubt, because you've faced hell and came back stronger. So, stop hiding. Own your story. Your scars are not your weakness. They are your credentials. They prove that what tried to destroy you only made you unstoppable. Write it boldly in the comments section. My scars are my strength. Truth. 6. Mattering means making choices that your future self will thank you for. Every single day you're in a negotiation with two versions of yourself. The one who wants comfort now and the one who wants a life that matters later. One of them will win, and whichever one wins today will shape who you become tomorrow. Seneca warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." He was right. You don't lack time. You lack commitment to spending it on things that actually build the life you claim you want. Time isn't the problem. How you're investing it is. Right now, in this exact moment, you're making a choice. Maybe it feels small, maybe it feels invisible, but it's not. Every choice is a brick, and you're either building a palace or constructing a prison. The structure you're creating reveals itself slowly, one decision at a time, until one day you wake up and realize you're living in exactly what you built. You say you want financial freedom, but you're spending money on temporary satisfaction. You say you want better health, but you're choosing convenience over vitality. You say you want meaningful work, but you're not investing in developing your skills. The gap between what you say you want and what you're actually building is where your life is disappearing. Here's what nobody tells you about discipline. It's not about being hard on yourself. It's about being kind to your future. Every difficult choice you make today is a gift you're giving to the person you're becoming. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you're saying, "Future me, I see you, and I'm fighting for you right now." There's a principle in behavioral psychology called temporal discounting. It describes our tendency to choose smaller, immediate rewards over larger, delayed ones. We pick comfort today over growth tomorrow. We choose easy now over meaningful later. We sacrifice the future on the altar of the present, then wonder why our lives never change. This isn't a character flaw, it's human wiring. But understanding it doesn't mean surrendering to it. Every choice is a vote for the person you're becoming, a vote for the life you're creating. The question isn't, what do I want right now? The real question is, who do I want to be? And every yes to the easy thing is a no to the important thing. Think about a farmer planting seed. The ground is hard, the work is exhausting, the results are completely invisible. For weeks, sometimes months, there's nothing to show for the effort, just dirt, just faith, just the choice to keep planting even when nothing appears to be growing. Anyone can look at that field and see nothing, but the farmer sees differently. The farmer understands something about compound growth that impatient people never learn. The farmer doesn't plant corn and check the next day for stalks, doesn't water on Monday and expect harvest on Tuesday. The farmer understands that small, consistent actions, repeated over time, create results that seem miraculous to those who don't understand the process. The magic isn't in any single day, it's in the accumulation. Your life operates on the same principle. The workout today doesn't give you the body you want, but the workout today, repeated consistently for 100 days, transforms you completely. The hour of practice tonight doesn't make you an expert, but that hour, multiplied by months and years, makes you formidable. The difficult conversation today doesn't heal the relationship, but the pattern of honest communication, sustained over time, builds something unbreakable. Consider the construction of medieval cathedrals. These massive structures took generations to complete. The master mason who laid the first stone knew he would never see the finished building. He was making choices for a completion he would never witness. Yet he made those choices with precision, with care, with attention to detail, because he understood he wasn't building for himself. He was building for those who would come after, for a legacy that would outlast him by centuries. That's the mentality you need. You're not just making choices for today, you're building a legacy, creating a structure that will either shelter or imprison future you. Every decision either strengthens the foundation or creates cracks that will widen with time. Think about credit. Not financial credit, but the credit you're building with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you make a deposit. Every time you follow through on what you said you'd do, you build trust with the most important person in your life, you. And every time you break a promise to yourself, every time you choose the easy path after swearing you'd take the hard one, you make a withdrawal. Do that enough times, and you go bankrupt. You stop believing your own commitments, because history has taught you that you don't keep them. But the opposite is also true. When you start keeping promises to yourself, even small ones, you build compound interest. You develop self-trust. You become someone who does what they say they'll do, and that identity, that self-concept of being reliable to yourself, becomes a force multiplier for everything else you attempt. Warren Buffett became one of the wealthiest people in history, not through spectacular wins, but through consistent, patient, disciplined choices made over decades. He understood compound interest. He understood that small percentages, accumulated over long periods, create exponential results. He made choices in his 20s and 30s that his 70-year-old self benefited from enormously. Not exciting choices, not glamorous choices, just consistent, disciplined, future-focused choices. You want a life that matters? Then act like it. Wake up when you said you would, not when it feels convenient. Do the work you committed to, not the work that's easy. Have the conversations you've been avoiding. Take the steps that scare you. Choose discipline when every fiber of your being wants to drift. Because one day, maybe not today, maybe not next month, but one day you'll wake up and the harvest will have come. The life you wanted will be the life you're living, and it won't have happened by accident or luck. It will have happened because you made choices. Difficult choices, unpopular choices, uncomfortable choices that your past self made specifically for your present self. Every single night before you sleep, ask yourself this question: did I make choices today that my future self will thank me for? Not choices that felt good, not choices that were easy. Choices that move you toward the life you actually want, instead of keeping you comfortable in the life you're trying to escape. Stop negotiating with yourself. Stop bargaining with your potential. Stop choosing temporary comfort that creates permanent regret. Your future is being constructed right now, not someday. Right now, this moment, this choice, this decision, and the architect is you. So, build something worth living in. Number 7. You don't need permission to matter. You need conviction. This is it, the final truth, the one that either sets you free or keeps you caged forever. Everything else we've discussed leads to this moment, this choice, this recognition. You are waiting for someone to tell you it's your turn, to give you permission, to validate that you're allowed to take up space, speak up, step forward, and matter. But that permission will never come, not because you don't deserve it, but because it was never required in the first place. Marcus Aurelius, who commanded the most powerful empire on earth, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He ruled nations and still understood. The only permission that actually matters is the permission you give yourself. Everything else is negotiation with illusions, but you're living like you need approval, like your worth is pending someone else's signature, like you can't matter until someone else decides you can. And while you wait, your life is evaporating, your gifts are gathering dust. Your purpose sits there, patient, but wondering when you'll finally claim it. You're waiting for your employer to recognize your value, for your family to believe in you, for society to validate you, for circumstances to align perfectly, for the universe to send an unmistakable sign. But the sign has already been sent. It's written in the restlessness you feel, in the dreams that won't leave you alone, in the voice inside that refuses to stay silent, no matter how much you try to quiet it. Permission is a cage disguised as protection. It feels safe to wait, to ask, to defer. Because if you fail after getting permission, it's not entirely your fault. You were following instructions, following the approved path. But if you fail after giving yourself permission, that's terrifying. That means you're fully responsible. And responsibility is what you've been avoiding. But responsibility is exactly what you need. Not someone else's approval, not external validation, not the world's blessing. You need to look yourself in the mirror and say, "I matter," not because anyone said so, but because I exist, and I'm done waiting for permission to live like it. Every person who fundamentally changed history did so without permission. They didn't wait for the world to be ready. They forced the world to deal with them being ready. They didn't ask if they were allowed. They announced that they were here. Rosa Parks didn't have permission to refuse to give up her seat. The law explicitly forbade it. Society condemned it. But she had conviction, and conviction doesn't ask. It declares. Martin Luther King didn't have permission to dream of equality. The government opposed him. The establishment fought him, but his conviction was stronger than their resistance. Think about the Wright brothers. They didn't have permission to fly. Prominent scientists had proven mathematically that heavier than air flight was impossible. The establishment said it couldn't be done, but they had conviction. They ignored the experts, trusted their own observations, and changed human history. They didn't wait for academic approval. They built the plane and flew it. Oprah Winfrey didn't have permission to build a media empire. She was told she was the wrong gender, wrong race, wrong background. She was fired from an early television job for being unfit for TV. But she had conviction about her voice and her vision. She didn't wait for the industry to give her permission. She created her own platform and became one of the most influential people on the planet. Think about water accumulating behind a dam. It doesn't ask permission to break through. It doesn't wait for approval. It builds pressure. It accumulates force. And when the pressure becomes great enough, it breaks through. Not because anyone said it could, but because the force of what it had become made breakthrough inevitable. That's conviction. That's the energy you need to cultivate. Not arrogance, not entitlement, but the unshakable knowing that you were placed here for a reason, that your voice matters, that your life has weight, that your existence is not an accident, but an assignment you've spent too long in the waiting room of your own life, watching others get called, watching others step forward, wondering when it'll be your turn, believing there's some cosmic order, some invisible list where your name will eventually appear. But there is no waiting room. There never was. That was just fear convincing you to stay seated while life happened around you. The door has always been open. The stage has always been available. The only thing keeping you in the audience is the belief that you need permission to step onto it. But you don't. You never did. Think about a lion in the wild. It doesn't ask permission to be king of its domain. It doesn't wait for other animals to vote on its status. It doesn't seek validation before acting with authority. It simply is what it is. Its conviction about its own nature is absolute. It doesn't second-guess, doesn't apologize, doesn't wait. It moves with complete certainty about its right to exist as it is. You were designed with the same inherent authority, not over others, but over your own life, your own choices, your own path. You have absolute dominion over who you become and what you create with your time here. No one can give you that authority because no one can take it away. It's inherent to your existence. So, I'm not asking if you're ready. I'm telling you something you already know but have been afraid to acknowledge. You were born ready. You've been ready. The world has been waiting for you to realize what's always been true. That you don't need anyone's permission to be who you already are. Stop waiting. Stop asking. Stop looking for validation from people who are waiting for the same thing. Stop performing the ritual of seeking approval when you already possess everything you need. Stand in your conviction, not loudly necessarily, not aggressively, but firmly, unshakably. With the quiet certainty of someone who knows their worth isn't up for debate. Claim your space. Own your voice. Live like someone who knows, beyond any doubt, that their life matters. Not because it's been proven or validated or approved, but because mattering isn't something you earn, it's something you are. Drop this powerful declaration in the comments right now. I am done waiting. 7 truths, not theories, not motivational concepts, but tested principles that have carried people from obscurity to undeniable impact, from invisible to essential, from waiting to becoming. You don't need everyone's belief. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need to wait until you're healed or ready or qualified. You need conviction. You need commitment. You need to start honoring the call inside that refuses to stay silent. Epictetus said it clearly. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. That's the entire equation. Decide who you are, then live accordingly. No more complicated than that. No more difficult than choosing yourself repeatedly until it becomes your nature. The world doesn't need more people waiting for permission. It needs people with the courage to matter, starting now, starting where you are, starting with what you have, not someday when conditions improve. Today, this moment, this choice. Every single day presents the same decision. Stay small or step forward, hide or be seen, wait or begin, and every choice compounds. Every decision either builds the life you want or reinforces the life you're trying to escape. There is no neutral. Every moment is either progress or regression. 6 months from now, you'll be somewhere. The only question is where. Will you be having the same conversations with yourself, making the same excuses, living in the same patterns? Or will you have moved, grown, transformed into someone who barely remembers what it felt like to live small? Your worth isn't determined by who shows up. Your struggles are building your strength. Your purpose doesn't wait for perfect. Some people aren't meant for your journey. Your scars are your credentials. Every choice matters, and you don't need permission. Now you know. The question is, what will you do with what you know? Before you go, type these 4 powerful words in the comments and let them be your battle cry moving forward. My life matters now.